The Hamilton Police Services started an initiative where they invite new recruits to various places of worship throughout the year. On this day, their goal was to learn about the Sikh community's faith, identity, and culture.
So
I
they're
started
just
off with a tour of the facilities and basic
regular
protocols
police
while
officers.
visiting a gurdwara. I shared a presentation prepared by the World Sikh Organization on Sikhs in Canada, how to recognize Sikhs, our articles of faith and what they represent, the treatment of these articles, religious accommodations and the freedom of religion, consent and respect for body searches on Sikhs, international students, Sikhs in politics, and more. My goal was to enhance their understanding of Sikhs so that they're able to respond to calls appropriately. If they were ever called to a gurdwara or a Sikh family's home in an emergency, they would have more awareness and knowledge of Sikh beliefs and practices to provide culturally appropriate care. In the end, they all enjoyed a delicious meal in the Langar Hall. Initiatives like this one help break down biases and prejudices, foster trust, improve communication, and community relations. We look forward to teaching the next batch of recruits throughout the year.
Okay. I got some things to say. You want to go first and then...
I'm just gonna say what Sylvie's saying right here. She's saying that video is not that recent, but it's real.
So it's worse now.
I agree with you. I don't give a fuck that it's recent or not. It's
probably
not
worse
that
now.
old.
It's worse now, I'm sure.
Yes. And why does it matter that they are culturally aligned with them? It should be the other fucking way round.
You can't have specialized policing strategies based on someone's faith. That puts an undue burden on the police officer. Now he's got to try to determine what faith somebody is before he decides how best to police them. That is bullshit. You have correct police training and techniques that apply to everybody, period. You cannot adjust, like if something is a best practices police strategy or technique, it is that for everybody. It does not matter your faith. We are a secular society. What that means is you are free to practice your religion in this society, and everyone will defend. I'm an atheist. I will defend. I'll march in the streets if government tries to outlaw your religion, and I don't care what religion it is. But the public sector, policy in the public does not cater to your religion. Period. If you wanted to, then go to one of the many, many theocratic governments and societies that exist. There's a ton of them out there. Don't bring that shit here. Sylvie says, Rob, you would walk for any religion. Pretty much. I mean, you'd have to give me an example of what you mean. Like, I just think it's kind of like free speech. You know, I would defend anyone's free speech, even if I don't agree with them, because I know the slippery slope that goes down when you try to ban it. Even if I don't agree with any religion. I'm an atheist. However, if a government is starting to try to ban the private practice of any religion, yes, I would be out there, just because that's authoritarianism, that's fascism. And I even if I don't give a shit about that religion, I understand the direction that's going to lead us. But yes, I would defend I support everyone's right to practice a religion in private. At the same time, any religion that wants to, say, shut down society, like pray in the middle of busy streets, or demands special accommodations for their religion in the public sphere, no, I will oppose that at all times. Mad Dog says, I thought all government employees were to remain neutral while representing their government departments, and that's it. That's exactly it. We live in a diverse society. We live in a multicultural.
It's supposed to be, but it's not the case.
No. When I say that's it, is that's the point. That's the correct take. In a multicultural or in a diverse society, that is the only policy that can work, is to have a policy of strict neutrality among all government employees. And police are among the most impactful of government employees, because they are directly dealing with some very... they're directly dealing with the public, and they are in charge of policing them. When you give special permissions to some religions for police officers to wear their religious symbols and explicitly ban them in other ones, that's not okay. I'm not okay with that. I agree with the policy that no police should have religious symbols on them. But if you're going to allow them for some religions, you have to allow them for all religions. But they don't do that because so much of society today is at the whim of far-left ideologies. And according to the identity politics of far-left ideologies, it is okay to bash and shit on Christians and Christianity. It is, however, completely not okay to limit anyone else's religion, but it's entirely appropriate to limit Christianity. And again, I'm an atheist. I'm not a Christian. And that offends my fundamental sense of fairness and justice.
In Canada, the ability of police officers to wear religious symbol is not uniform across the country, and it is subject to varying provincial and municipal regulations. Many police forces in Canada, including the RCMP, Toronto Police, Vancouver Police, and the Calgary Police Service, allow officers to wear religious symbols like turban, hijab, and kippah as part of their uniform. But you know
what are crosses? What are
you
crosses?
can't. It's illegal. You cannot. But as a Christian, I'm not allowed to wear a cross on my uniform. I have to, it has to be hidden from direct sight.
Yeah, and that's wrong. Frankly, no one should be allowed to wear any religious symbols if you're a police officer. Hold
on, you're able to wear the LGBTQ crap on your uniform too, and I would argue that this is a religion.
That's another religious symbol.
You have to have a lot of faith to say that women can have penises. It takes a lot of fucking faith. To believe that. So
and the thing is there's real practical reasons for this. It's because let's say you're a Palestinian and you call the police because of something that happened, and the police officer shows up, has a Star of David on it, or vice versa. You're an Israeli citizen or Jewish, and the police officer that shows up has a Palestinian flag. You're going to be very suspicious that you're getting correct, like that you're going to be treated fairly, even if you are. Maybe the officer genuinely is professional and would never let that. You just don't know as the member of the public, and the only correct policy is to do away with all of it. And you know, just to tie this into what we were just talking about with the LGBTQ stuff as a form of religion, do you remember that clip that we saw when we had Billboard Chris on here? He was doing a sign thing in Vancouver, and a trans woman literally came up and beat the shit out of him in front of a cop.
Keep your what? How do you keep posure? You. Nothing. You. Hey, get
a liberal white female cop, by the way, and she laughed and turned her eyes the other way while she had her big LGBTQ pin on. And we saw in real time how police officers were influenced by their religious preferences, because she was a believer of the, TQ plus, the trans religion. And here was someone who was protesting against her religion, and he was being assaulted, and she chose not to do anything about it. So that's like, you couldn't think of a better example of why this is bad policy, why you shouldn't allow that.